The wind in the Great Smoky Mountains can play tricks on you. It curls around the ridges, slips through the rhododendron thickets, and whispers like something trying to speak, but never quite forming the words. On June 14th, 1969, that wind carried the sound of children laughing. See, the Martin family had hiked up to Spencfield, this wide, grassy clearing perched high on the Appalachian spine. A place so open, so harmless looking, that the park rangers often told parents it was one of the safer spots for kids to run around. 7-year-old Dennis Martin was the quiet one of the group. Small, thoughtful, he's the kind of child who watches before he jumps. His father, William, remembered him wearing a bright red shirt, a detail that would become more haunting as the day went on. Because that afternoon, the children decided to play a prank on the adults. It was nothing unusual, just a childhood ambush. Slide into the bushes, wait until the adults walk by, then leap out with a shout. 3 of the boys ran off to one side of the field. Dennis, eager not to be left out, ducked into the brush on the opposite side of the bush, just a few steps away. William watched him whisper and disappear into the thicket. He would later say that he just stepped in. When the prank launched, the boys jumped out, yelling and laughing. But Dennis didn't come out. His father called for him. Nothing. He called louder. Still nothing. He sprinted to the thicket, expecting his son to be crouched and giggling, trying too hard to be clever. But all he found was tall grass and silence. William's heart began to hammer. He ran deeper into the woods, shouting Dennis's name. Within 5 minutes, the entire Martin family was searching, and within 30, the calls had turned from playful to frantic. Within the hour, storm clouds had gathered over the ridge, thick, gray, fast-moving, like they'd been waiting. Rain fell heavy, cold, and merciless. The kind that washes away footprints, the kind that steals scent trails from search dogs. That's when the scream, one scream, echoed across the ridgeline. Several hundred yards downslope, the Key family, hiking in the valley, reported hearing a childlike scream, super sharp, yet sudden. Then they saw something move, a figure, crouched, almost trying to hide. They described it as an unusual man, maybe, but not walking quite right. Park rangers would later tell the Key family to keep quiet about that sighting. But even within the search teams, the description spread like hush around the bush. The strange figure running through the trees, holding something over its shoulder. For 6 days, more than 1,000 searchers combed the woods, rangers, Boy Scouts, Green Berets, bloodhounds. The search operation became the history's largest search operation in the Smoky Mountains. But not one footprint, not a thread of fabric, not even a scrape of red cloth had ever been seen there again. And so, the mountain kept him. Some believe he got lost. Some believe he fell into a ravine. Some believe he was taken by a person. But the truth is simpler, far more terrifying. The child took 2 steps into the tall grass before the monster of the Appalachian took him away forever. If this is your first night tuning in, we are YouTube's one and only horror radio channel. I know you're watching this as a recording, but once we get over 50 subscribers, we'll start doing live streams for every single episode. Here in our frequency, we dig into the horror and the darkest corners of the world, unexplained disappearances, cold cases that refuse to die, and encounters people swear happened but cannot describe without trembling. So if you crave the mysteries that live between the ridgelines, then subscribe to our Hollow and catch our broadcast every Wednesday. We'll save you a seat by the fire. So tonight we're staying right here in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains. It's a place as beautiful as it is forgiving. a place where people vanish, but it's a forest that really has a memory of its own. Tonight's broadcast is 5 unsolved Appalachian cases no one can explain. You already heard the first, so let's continue with the second. You see, the Smokies have this strange habit. Whenever people disappear, it's always in ways that don't fit the wilderness. Ways that feel precise and almost predatory. On October 8th, 1976, a 16-year-old Trenny Gibson boarded the school bus for a field trip to the Great Smoky Mountains. She wasn't the type to skip school or run away. She was quiet, responsible, close to her family, the kind of girl whose disappearance makes the world feel unfair. The class hiked the Andrews Bald Trail. It's this ridge path lined with spruce and fir trees. It's thin in some places, but never isolated. Students walked through in rough clusters, some ahead, some behind, but always within sight of someone, except at one particular bend. Trenny was behind one group, ahead of another. She stopped briefly, according to witnesses, looked off into the trail, and saw something, or someone. Then she stepped off the path, in just one single step. Her classmates didn't think anything of it. Maybe she needed a moment or spotted a bird. 30 seconds later, when the group passed, she was gone. No footsteps, she didn't cry for help, no rustling brushes, nothing. Searchers found fragments of clues that only made things stranger. A faint scent detected by dogs abruptly stopped at the edge of a steep drop and then reappeared far downslope. A possible sighting of a man in the woods wearing clothes similar to Trenny's description. A reported vehicle circling the parking area near the time the group returned. Rumors then began to swirl. Maybe Trenny had been stalked by someone, and that someone had followed the class into the mountains that she had been lured or taken. But there's another detail that chills searchers to this day. When the night fell, the Smokies dropped below freezing. Trenny had no coat, no gloves, nothing to protect her. If she wandered, she would have been found. And if she fell, she would have been found. And if she hid, they would have still heard and found her. But instead, she vanished with the same impossible silence as Dennis Martin. In Appalachia, the forest does not take people kindly. And it doesn't take people loudly either. Sometimes it just simply opens its mouth and closes again. Most disappearances in national forests involve tourists, people unfamiliar with the terrain. But once in a while, the mountain takes someone who should have been untouchable. On January 13, 1981, Paul Fugate was a seasoned park ranger working at the Great Smoky Mountains National Park near the Sugarland Station. He had a quiet shift. It was cold but clear. He left the station to do a routine trail walk and told the colleague he'd be back in a few minutes. He left on foot. He didn't pack any gear. Nothing but a uniform and the kind of confidence only decades in the wilderness can give you. Minutes stretched to hours. And when Fugate didn't return, rangers assumed he'd been delayed. But by nightfall, a tension settled over the team. This was not a hiker. This was one of their own. The rangers knew the forest better than anyone. When one of them disappears, something is deeply wrong. Search teams found no tracks, no signs of an animal attack, no evidence of a fall. He was just absent. Local rumors whispered something darker. Fugate had been investigating suspicious activity, poachers, illegal operations. Some believe he maybe stumbled into the wrong clearing. Others believe maybe whatever happened to him was done quietly and buried deep in the woods. Fugate's body was never found, just like the other two. Not a bone or a shred of uniform either. And before long, officials seemed hesitant. Unusually so. Like there were things they knew but refused to put on paper. The Smoky Mountains have taken many, but Paul Fugate's disappearance feels most deliberate of all of them. It's like the forest didn't lose him, it just kept him. On August 2000, 23-year-old Leah Roberts left her North Carolina home, packed her Jeep, and told no one where she was going. See, Leah always had an adventurous streak, but this journey had a different tone. After losing both her parents, she had grown philosophical, drawn to nature, writing to escape, and she just drove west alone. She took her trip to the Blue Ridge Mountains and then beyond them. She was last seen alive in a coffee shop, calm and reflective. Then, 9 days after she left home, her Jeep was found deep in the woods, crumpled against a bank. But the crash told this impossible story. See, the damage to the vehicle was severe, catastrophic even. But there was no blood, no sign that Leah had been inside during the collision. When investigators looked inside the car, they found cash left in plain sight, clothes neatly folded, even Leah's cat footprint charm placed intentionally on the dashboard, and a strange blanket hung inside the Jeep like a curtain, dividing the interior in half. It was like Leah had stayed in the vehicle, slept in it, then walked away. But where did she walk to? Search dogs traced her scent to the edge of an old logging road, and then it just stopped, abruptly, like someone had picked her up. A jogger later reported seeing a woman matching Leah's description, walking with two men days after the crash. Another witness claimed Leah had been at a gas station, looking completely dazed. Every sighting contradicted the last. Every clue led nowhere. Some believe Leah staged her disappearance, while others think she met with foul play. Some think she lost herself in the mountains, but those who knew her best insist she would have returned. In the Blue Ridge Mountains, the line between a person leaving and a person being taken is razor thin, to be honest. And if the Appalachians had one cursed place people remember the most, it's Dolly Sods. Dolly Sods was this high plateau in West Virginia, and it's kind of beautiful in a way abandoned churches are beautiful. It's stunning, but unsettling. The winds roar across the open meadows, fog rolls in low and thick, and the silence feels kind of intentional. Locals say the land remembers violence. During World War II, soldiers used Dolly Sods for artillery testing. Exploded shells still hide beneath the soil. But long before that, native tribes avoided the plateau, calling it a place where the world is thin. People go missing there. Not many, but enough that searchers speak of it on a quiet dread. This one case stands out of a hiker named Jim Feud, vanished in 1983. He was experienced, well prepared, and hiking with a partner. The two briefly separated, just long enough to adjust packs and tie boots. When the partner looked up, Jim was gone. No footsteps in the mud, again, no broken branches, and no sign that he walked away. Searchers found only one clue: a set of footprints that began normally, then suddenly veered sharply off the trail and stopped at the edge of a bog. But when they checked the bog, there was no body there. No sinking prints, no drag marks. It was as if Jim stepped towards something and lifted off the earth. Some believe the old artillery shells are to blame, and others think Dolly Sods is simply dangerous terrain. Old folks in the mountains say something else entirely. Dolly Sods takes what Dolly Sods wants, and what it takes, it never gives back. The Appalachian Mountains are ancient, older than the bones of the continent itself. Age brings beauty, but it also brings memory. And in these ridges, memory lingers like mist. 5 people who have wildly different backgrounds disappeared in the same way. Maybe the answers are buried beneath centuries of soil. Maybe someone out there knows the truth and will never speak. Or maybe the mountains simply keep some secrets to themselves. If you ever find yourself hiking the Appalachian spine, stop for a moment and listen. If the wind sounds like it's whispering something, it probably is. Thank you for spending your night with me at Hans Hollow in this broadcast. If you want more journeys into the dark, subscribe and join our broadcast every Wednesday. Until then, stay close to the trail, and I hope you have a horrible sleep.